Welcome back to IGN's in 2020 that was built on the very notion of partnership, supporting independent developers and helping them get their games made. In partnership with Freedom Games, IGN is proud to present a showcase of all the upcoming games they've got in the works. Enjoy.
It was always a dream to, make a video game. I guess everyone wants to do that.
You really want to make fictional worlds. You really want to make your own universe.
So we decided to leave everything.
What started off as kind of a passion project turned into having a small staff and full funding.
There's a lot of firsts here in this project.
We knew it was kind of way more than we could handle, but if we just work hard and put our minds to it and make the game we want to make, we think we can be super successful.
Good Heavens is a cozy open-world sandbox crafting game with procedural map generation and storytelling. The player's goal is to improve their base and character while exploring a rich world with different biomes, races, cultures, and cities. We offer a unique dynamic class system for co-op multiplayer, enabling various playstyles. It's possible to play a game as a fighter, farmer, cook, miner, trader, or even as a card player. Each player in multiplayer can play individually within the team. Some of them are exploring, slaying monsters, and doing quests from the cities. Others are building the base, farming and taming animals. Traders are building roads and trying to find unique resources from other cities. The team events gather the team together. Slaying a boss or organizing a beer festival can be team events. The world of Good Heavens is created procedurally. Moreover, the races, the cities, and their cultures, also the history of the city with its neighbors and their behaviors, are procedural as well. Players might come across wild combinations. A town of nudist elves are radical and aggressive as part of their behavior, so they're attacking anyone who enters their town with their clothes on. Another random combination could be BDSM-loving vampires or hippie werewolves. It's a comedy game, and we do everything with that in mind. Once we create the world with its towns, cultures, and history, the world will start interacting with itself. The cities will start evolving according to their cultures and their respective technology path. They trade with other cities and harness resources from their environment. If the player gives them the tech, they will continue their evolution. They will make new buildings. With those buildings, they will make new weapons, and eventually they will attack their rival city and destroy it. A single action by the player can lead to enormous outcomes. If you're watching this, then it means we want you on board as well. So jump in. What are you waiting for?
I would say that it's an endless comedy engine that you can play forever. You can play Good Heavens in a casual way or in a hardcore way. It's up to you. The game has a massive scale map. We have different biomes and we have different resources and animals and monsters on each of these biomes. And we have also this NPC and cities layer on top of this. So you can build your own base. You trade between those cities and you try to find a balance in this world in the end. And every time you restart the game, there is a new challenge waiting for you. Some of them start as a more developed city and they go into a small town and then they become a larger town and then they become a city and then at the end they became metropoles. But in order to arrive into that latest stage, they need to find all the resources that specific culture is requiring to evolve. You're trying to find out what's going on. You get quests from them, and then for yourself, you try to improve your base, improve your character. So you kill some monsters, you hunt for some animals, and you craft some things for your base and yourself. And every time you restart the game, you find that these races and cultures are different from the previous game. And there's some kind of a new story in between them. That's the procedural part of the game. These cities will have different ambitions, they will have different relationships with each other, and you will find different quests in each time you restart the game. It enables you to tell different stories every time you restart the game. I mean, we don't want a linear game that's the same every time you play. I mean, the magic of procedural generation is to give you a different challenge every time. So you're building your character, and you might try to build a farmer character, for example, or a warrior character, or a trader character. Starting with the biomes, each of these biomes can hold different races, and each of these races can have different cultures. Depending on those cultures, they have different buildings and classes in those cities. So those guys you can trade with, take quests from, and just go into some dialogues with them and try to find out about the rest of the world. So depending on how you start the game, single player or 3-player or 7-player, the difficulty of the game will change. Our procedural generation works quite well. I was afraid that it wouldn't be this easy to handle a huge map like this. It would create some problems. The second thing is the combat system we are developing right now is somehow better than many of these current multiplayer crafting games, I would say. It's been around a year since we started working on the early concepts and research about procedural generation. It took us some time to overcome some of these technical challenges. We're not the first overcoming those, but it took some time nonetheless.
Legends tell of a golden time in years past of great clashes, heroes, and triumphs.
Hey everybody, Phil, lead designer for Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga. 6 years ago, we set out to create a brand new strategy RPG series, and today we're finally ready to announce the first title's official launch date. And that launch date is right now, today. Please go check it out at the Steam store. RPG fans, we think you're going to love this one. I want to send out a special thank you to everyone who's followed and supported our development along the way, and to everyone who gives it a try. We hope you enjoy playing it as much as we enjoy creating it. My name is Phil, and I am the co-founder of Dancing Dragon Games. Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga, is the first in a strategy game series that we are developing. It is a political war drama. Your protagonist is an Imperial Army officer. Some shocking events happen, you get framed for murder, you have to clear your name. There's so many twists and turns, and you saving the world, as you do in these games. I love to tinker. I love to experiment. I want to be able to set this up and then auto battle. I want to have a little bit more automation, and Symphony of War delivers that exactly. It's turn-based, and the bulk of your micromanagement is done before you go into a mission or a chapter in a home-based sequence, and I love that. In the home-based phase, you will be able to buy stuff, and that's, hire conscripts or mercenaries. You can buy artifacts at the shop. You'll be able to tech up. You can go into the support conversations and have the characters interact with each other, react to the events of the world. You can do friendships, bonds, which is love and romance, and family. Tactical phase is the other half. Your squads that you've built are plopped down into a map. Boom, that's my army, that's my setup. It's beautiful.
mission go. So we've got open terrain, which includes your plains, your roads, grasslands, stuff like that. And you've got your rough terrain, what's your woods, your swamp, your townscapes. You have your squads, and you've painstakingly made their formation, chosen their class, chosen their leader, their traits, their artifacts, and you send them in and you go, and then you sit back and watch. The enemy is pretty clever in this game, I gotta say. Hats off to my programmer for that. So, I love the classes. There's heavy infantry, heavy cavalry, light infantry, archery, firearms, magicians, support, and dragons. You start at tier 1, and then the ultimate is your tier 4. You start as a piddly little guy with leather armor, and then you upgrade to a guy that's a little bit cooler. Now he has full plate armor, and then you upgrade again to a guy that's really decked out in awesome, like, gilded armor. Out of 50 classes, I think we've done a really good job of getting a really big wealth of pixel art that we can use, and it's beautiful and very well animated. Yeah, class system looks freaking good. There's things that will shock you, and there are things that will surprise you, and things that will delight you, and things that will crush you. It's just very visceral. The world setting and the characters and the history, it's all years and years in the making. I want this game to really convey that it is an expression of myself. I know how magical that feels to kind of be whisked away into a fantasy world. Trust me, it's awesome.
There was a time when we forgot who we are. We were ungrounded and destroyed our world in the name of greed. But now, we remember. We remember that we are not in control of nature, but we are part of it. The world is our healer. And we are grateful. We are grounded by the air we breathe and seek balance with nature. We are not separate from the universe. We are an awareness of ourselves. Every grain of sand, every forgotten star in the night sky, and every ray of life-giving energy is part of us. You are here to survive, and you are here to find this wisdom. There is a stillness waiting for you. Go and find it. Retreat to NN.
My name is Justin Hosford. I'm the founder of Head West Studio, and we're making a game called Retreat to Enin. Retreat to Enin is first and foremost a survival game with a more relaxing angle to it and a little bit of mindfulness mixed in. I was trying to make a Zen kind of experience, and I'd never seen that in a video game before as a core mechanic. Your abilities in the game are attached to your spirit level. If your spirit level drains, your health starts to drain, and you lose the ability to do things like light a fire, craft items, sprint, hold your breath underwater for very long. So you need to keep your spirit level up in order to be more effective at survival. And the way that you keep your spirit level raised is through meditation. Meditation's had a profound effect in my life. It seems like something that maybe the world could use even more of now, and if this little game can help even one person achieve that, I think that it's reached its goal.
Gently close your eyes and take in a nice, deep breath.
For years, I was a film and television composer. Because of that, I was able to focus a lot of energy on the score to this game, and I didn't want to just do the obvious chill Zen music. You know, I wanted to make something emotional, even sad at times. I tried to make it, I guess, as connecting and beautiful as I possibly could. To connect people to nature, what we've done is made a very lush, full, rich environment. It's not procedurally generated, so every path you take, every valley you walk into, every corner you turn, I tried to make it have its own personality. On the main island of Enin, the tropical island, there's going to be creeks, ponds, it's surrounded by a huge ocean. And when you go into the redwoods, that's a much larger area. If the player is going to get lost, that's where that's going to happen. The majesty of seeing an elk or a wolf roaming around the Arctic level just looks really cool. All in all, I think that they're very immersive environments. I kind of want this to be a game where people get lost sometimes. There isn't a map or a compass. All you have is a home icon on the last place that you slept. The player's going to kind of have to watch where they're going and just keep an eye on where things are. You got to get out there. You have to explore. There's a variety of animals to hunt on all three biomes, like deer and elk. There are wolves in the game, and we have gillnet fishing. Basically, everything is gathered. You don't cut down trees in this game. You can collect the wood off the ground, the scrap wood and driftwood, and turn that into a beautiful wooden structure with the technology. There is no wasted item in the collection system. Everything has a purpose. It's a hope and a dream that maybe someday the technology that we're developing can actually help us live closer to nature and not continue removing us further from it. So it goes from kind of elementary, basic survival all the way up to building this huge dream retreat. Even when the player gets done with the story of the game, they have the option, if they want to at any time, to return to this huge base that they've built and continue meditating and just have this place they can go to relax anytime they want.
Begin meditation.
I want this to be a game where people just escape to their second home away from home and just be in this peaceful environment that they use their creativity to build. And they're a part of the environment and not destroying it.
If you find this tape, I beg you, listen to it carefully. My name is Elise. I recently settled in the village of St. Exel, a quiet and isolated place near the sea. But during the annual fair, something happened. Armed troops attacked the village and tried to kidnap us all. I barely escaped, only to wake up completely alone. Stuck inside this place that doesn't feel like home anymore. I am starting to lose all sense of reality. While I was investigating the village, I discovered a deeply rooted sickness. When I started to sink into its abyss, St. Exel Church, I was finally able to see more clearly. Because even if this place is constantly challenging me, it also keeps pushing me to question everything. If by chance anybody is listening, please come help me. I'm not going to last much longer. It's now or never.
Hello, I'm Melvinio, the studio director of Elsewhere Experience, the studio behind Broken Pieces. I am also the sound designer and audio director for the game. Broken Pieces is a game that's set in a coastal village in France. It's an adventure game where you play a character named Elise. There's like some kind of paranormal phenomena that are happening inside the village, and she cannot escape. Our goal for the game was to really catch the attention of the player, and to do so we had to do something inside a world that's feeling very real, something that's tangible. You try and make the player believe in something, and then you switch their perspective. If everything is very realistic, then when you have things that are paranormal, they meet in the crosspoint with the realism, the player would question at first and then integrate inside its perspective of the world. What we really wanted the player to feel is the anxiety and loneliness that the main character Elise is feeling. Loneliness, it's a difficult sensation to communicate. There's actually only one character inside the game. You don't talk with anybody, you don't interact with other people. You don't have music. When you want to play music, you actually have to use the tape player inside the game. And I think that's what life is about too. Sometimes you listen to music because you want to break this loneliness. Because there's so many moments where you don't have music. You have to have this constant soundscape of what's surrounding you. We did a lot of recording where we live, and we really wanted it to be very present. All the environment were done by my associate Benoit. He drew most of his references from the region we live in and from the places we see every day. All the architecture surrounding us that are not seen a lot inside the video game industry. We are very huge fan of puzzle games, of course, and puzzles are very, very interesting because they give you the opportunity to insert story inside it. They give you the opportunity to talk about things that interest you, and they give you the opportunity to use the world fully and the exploration and the space you are in. The game is pretty unique, you know. The features there's inside it, the way we made things, is very ours. We didn't compromise on that. Thanks a lot for checking out Broken Pieces with us, et on espère que vous serez au rendez-vous. Merci.
Hi everybody and welcome aboard. I'm Stefano, co-owner of Stellax Software, and this is our project, a minimalistic narrative game called Monorail Stories in a modern-day pixel art setting. So what's the game about? Well, the game will star two different protagonists, Sylvie and Amal, who live in different cities and travel each day on the same monorail. But they never meet because they travel at different times and opposite directions. Along the way they will meet different people and make different choices, but they don't know they are sharing a common story. Because what one character does on his route has consequences on the route of the other character. So every choice the player makes will have repercussions, every choice will bring the player to a different story and to a completely different ending. But what does this game have to offer? Well, so first, the game has a story mode with branching storylines and multiple endings, but we also want to offer something new and not common in this kind of games. So we decided to add an innovative asynchronous multiplayer mode, where what one player does on his turn will impact how the story plays out for the other player. And last but not least, we also want to offer a kind of endless story mode with new contents added regularly. Okay, that was it. Thank you for traveling with us, and I hope you enjoyed this short first ride on the monorail.
I'm Stefano, welcome aboard. I'm co-owner of Stellax Software, very small husband and wife game studio. My wife, she's artistic director for the game, and this is our project, a minimalistic narrative video game called Monorail Stories in a modern day pixel art setting. So the game will start to different protagonists, Sylvie and Amal, who live in different cities and travel each day on the same monorail, but they never meet because they travel at different times and opposite directions. So along the way they will meet different people, they will make different choices, but they don't know they are sharing a common story, because what one character does on his route has consequences on the route of the other character. So basically every choice the player makes will have repercussions, and every choice will bring the player to a different story, to a completely different ending. We have around 10 different endings in the game. The funny thing is that each ending is so different one from the other. We're really surprised at the players. It was a huge challenge for us because we tried different ways to manage all these different paths that the player has. And what we find out really to focus everything on the relationships with the other commuters on the train. Monorail Stories is really about ordinary people in extraordinary everyday stories about commuting, human relations, and destiny waiting to be discovered. In a world where everybody's screaming so loud, we love to whisper. So we really want to give this kind of experience to players.